What is up, Honey Badger Nation? Welcome to our annual conversation to kick off the year with Expert Mentors Live with the one and only Miss Gogo. What is up?
Good
Happy
morning.
New Year.
Good afternoon, I should say, because it is past noon on East Coast.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Well,
is.
thank you for having me for the, what is it, 5th annual?
Yeah, something like that. Crazy. And I always tell everybody I look forward to this conversation because it really sets the tone and gets everybody's mind where it needs to be, especially when it comes to demand, it comes to presence, it comes to traffic, that first part of any business venture that we have. If we're helping buyers and sellers with real estate, if we're trying to attract, real estate agents to grow our teams, to grow our organizations, to putting together products, services, whatever, it starts with awareness. It starts with, creating traffic, creating demand. And that's really where, why I love kicking this year off, having this conversation with you to really get our minds where they need to be heading into the new year.
Well, thank you for having me. Let's talk about just that. You and me got to talk a little bit before it started, right?
Yes.
How I really want to, my New Year's resolution is to try to work less. And I hate that I use the word try. To work less, because there's no trying, there's doing. Right? And you do it or you don't. So there's no trying, right?
Yeah.
So to work less, I really worked so hard for the last few years. And what happens is when you do things over and over again, it becomes a habit, right? And it's hard to break habits. So now it's what I do. It's just like I wake up and I go on with my day, and one day is crazier than the other. And that's how it used to be. And now 2024 is going to change.
Yeah.
The idea is that I'm going to work way less. And really what I'm going to allow me to do that is replacing myself, because, you didn't build all of this to just let it all fall apart. That's not the goal, just to throw it at the wind and retire, right? I'm too young to retire. I can't do nothing all day. I still want to do things, just don't want to have to do things, right? That's I think the magic word. So I brought 4 things today that I want to kind of mention and go through them. What I think it allows everyone to, if they want, you can use it both ways, right? If you want to slow down and replace yourself with technology and systems and processes, those are the 4 things we're going to be talking about today. But if you want to speed up, you can use the same systems and processes for speeding up. It's just really how you want to use these systems. It's what's going to determine your end results. It's just what you want from this year.
Yeah. And, I think everybody kind of goes through, you reach different seasons, right? And I always love kind of thinking about just life, our business as kind of a river. And sometimes the river's nice and smooth. Sometimes it has crazy rapids and bends and turns and it's just a different season. And so I love when we get into conversations about systems and we get, foundational things that travel, right? They travel to any season. They travel, if you want to, like you said, speed up, slow down, but it's creating things in a way that are repetitive and repeatable, because anything that's repeatable can be scaled. So like if in your mind, you're like, hey, I've done this, I've built this, I've done, myself. I just want to step back for a second, but I don't want the machine to break. I want the machine to keep going. And we've done our work by creating repeatable processes, because once we get there, right? And that's what we have to fight for. And I love that you're wanting to go here with this, is that we have to fight for repeatable systems that are also profitable, because then it just allows you to decide what you want to do, where you're at in the season of your life, and spend more times with the family, more time watching the kiddos, be more present. And I think truly, Gogo, and you talk to so many real estate agents getting into the business, and I forget who I was having this conversation, and I think it's so important to remember it's that whole because, and never losing sight of why you got in this business in the first place. And I think
I got into it thinking that at the time, Dwayne was the breadwinner, right? And he made good money. He made 6 digits, and it was good to live life, right? It just wasn't. I always felt like going home to Romania, I I mean, $7,000 when you make 6 digits, that's a big chunk. And that's just for a plane to drop you off on the other side of the pond, right? And so I just wanted to get a real estate license where we can easily afford for me going home every summer, and we can afford spring break with the kids, right? So I just wanted to make extra money. And then over time, I became really good at it, right? And now I made a lot of money. And now I got to the other end where I made all of this money and I didn't have time to spend it. I haven't been home in 3 years, right? Because it's been so crazy. And so now I really just want to go back of not lose sight of what you did it for, right? Like, what's the point of making all of the money if you don't have time to spend it? It kind of loses its magic. So I just want to make sure that me personally, then I have it all, right? Then I can use the money, use the time with friends and family, like have time to read a book. Like I had to literally read books on a toilet or like literally like in a gym or in a sauna or, you know, things like that, where I'm like, you really should just enjoy the moment. Right. So whatever anyone is at in their career is where I want to make sure that that's the mindset that they're looking at the systems. Then I'm going to be showing here today, because mine is to slow down, but if yours is to speed up, then you can absolutely use all of these systems for that reason. Systems are here to replace you. So think of it this way. I'm using it to replace me, to give me time back to enjoy life. If you're using it to replace you, to make multiple of you, meaning that you can get more done in that hour than if you did it without systems, right? So you can look at it from both sides.
Love it. Let's go. Let's dive in.
How do I share over here? Because I usually do present right there. I'm assuming video file, share screen, and do not show this tip again. Okay, share screen, and would that be it? I think so.
Boom.
Can you guys see my screen?
We can now.
Awesome. Okay, let's see if I can put it in present mode.
Ah, there we go.
Can you see it?
I'm gonna do something here to help us.
I see you.
I'm going to make this.
I like to be talking to myself.
Nope, you're good. We got you.
I know, but I don't see you. Let's see if I can go back to StreamYard. Oh, there we go. Okay, but then I can't click here, can I? No.
All right, just know, I can see you, and you just see your slides, and you just keep rocking.
Okay, well, guys, this is so weird. I usually see you guys while I'm speaking. Okay, so if this is the first time you're getting to know me, my real name is Gogo Bethke. I am Hungarian by nationality, moved to the US when I was 21. Didn't know anyone, got into real estate in 2011. So moved to the US in 2003, got all kinds of odd jobs, and then didn't get into real estate until 2011. Because I didn't know anyone and I had no sphere, I had to kind of figure out who is going to buy or sell a house with me. That's how social media came about. And today they call me the social media queen of real estate. And I try to stay always one step ahead of what's going on in the industry. And I do love technology. So that is one thing I think it's super important. When you decide to do this, you do have to have a little bit of tech understanding to understand what it is, what it does, and how you can implement it into your business. And if you don't have tech understanding, then maybe just follow some YouTube channel, maybe follow me. You can find me on Gogo's Real Estate. I always try to bring it down to basic bite-sized pieces. I also do a lot of trainings on these kind of things, but technology is your friend. And if you feel like it is not your friend right now, that just means you haven't had enough training, or you haven't spent enough time on these different platforms, you didn't push the buttons often enough for you to start feeling comfortable with them. But get comfortable with technology, because it's here to help you, to allow you to not have to do manual labor yourself and use your brain all the time. Allow a computer to think for you. So that's going to be ChatGPT in a little bit. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so let's see, how do we click here? So number one, the greatness tracker. So I wanted to, I think Larissa is in the waiting room. Larissa, if you can put the direct link to this into the chat so everybody can grab it from there. Can they grab it from there?
She might be able to, if she can put it inside of, if she's in the Honey Badger Facebook group, because we're in there, and then we're also in your Facebook group. If she can just put it in the Honey Badger group in the comments, that way that link is there, will be perfect.
Yeah, that would be awesome, because I want you guys all to be able to download this. So I'm going to kind of explain you how I started using it. So I know this is not technology. This is a good old piece of paper, right? But we are as good as our habits. And to create habits, we have to be doing things over and over and over again, 90 days before your brain catches on and says, oh, I I see what we are doing here. And then it becomes a habit, right? Until then, this is your reminder. So I am, believe it or not, guys, we are not in real estate. We are in the people business, right? The next connection, the next person is who needs that house that's going to buy or sell with you. And Coach Bird said it best. You don't need to make more money. You need to know more people. People have the money, right? So the greatness tracker is what going to allow you to build those relationships, new ones that you haven't had, and maintain the ones that you do have, and just kind of remind you what are the things that you should be doing day in and day out. And I know this is not technology, but this is where the human element comes in. This is where every time another third party company comes out and they're like, oh, they're going to put realtors out of business. I am not worried ever that we're going to be put out of business, because as soon as you put sellers and buyers together in a direct relationship and there's not a punch bag, us in the middle, I don't know what percentage would actually get to the closing table, right? So I think there is definitely a much need for us and the expert in the middle, because we remove their ego, we remove their bottom line, we take the beating in the middle. But in order to do that, you do have to have relationships with other humans, and the greatness tracker is what allows you to do that, but also reminds you what are the things that you should be doing every single day. Because I remember when I got into real estate, guys, way before people wanted to actually help you. Like, it was a closed door policy era, right? Everybody was guarding their slice of the pie. But also, you really only got help from local agents, which meant if a local agent helped you with their knowledge and they helped you grow into them, so sad, they just raised the competition. Why would they do that? Why in their right mind would they do that? They had no incentive, right? So I had no help. I had to figure out, okay, what am I supposed to be doing today? And nobody was telling me what am I supposed to be doing today, right? And then so I got this greatness tracker from a lender, actually, a lender friend of mine. Her name is Katie, amazing lender in Brighton, Michigan. And she gave me this and she goes, Gogo, put this to a clipboard and use it every single day. And it's going to teach you and remind you what you need to be doing. So I'm going to walk you through it. I know the screen is super tiny. You might not be able to see it, but hopefully you all had a chance to click the link and download it. If not, on this call right here in StreamYard, you're going to be able to do it in the live section in Honey Badgers or Team Gogo, okay? So in here, the greatness tracker, number one is face-to-faces. So face-to-face is somewhere where you were face-to-face with another human and real estate came up. That doesn't mean that you went to yoga, right? And you ran into somebody and you said hi and then you went home. That's not a face-to-face. A face-to-face, yes, you're physically in the same space with someone, but keyword, real estate came up. So you need to have 3 face-to-faces right there. The next one is break bread. So break bread, the second one here, is a lunch or dinner or breakfast, something where you break bread, where you actually eat with that person. So I used to fill this calendar on a system, and this is not here, but write it down. It's called SSS. Success system, Sunday success systems, SSS. So Sundays you would sit down and you would write down the people that you want to have breakfast, lunch, or dinner with. Initially, I started with breakfast, which was coffee, because coffee was just $3 versus inviting someone for lunch. Because if you're inviting someone to break bread, I think you should be the one paying for lunch. So if you can't afford lunch, invite them for coffee. Coffee is the cheapest, right? So it usually goes this order. Coffee is the cheapest, that's breakfast. Lunch is a little bit more expensive. And if you invite them out to dinner or happy hour, a cocktail is like $20. If they drink 2 cocktails, you get an appetizer, you're like $100 in, right? So if you're watching your spending, then do coffee. Then Sunday, as you sit down and then you fill in the break bread for coffees in the morning. So you have 5 mornings you can have, because I try not to work on a Saturday and Sunday, okay? So which you're going to be doing open houses for a while on Saturdays and Sundays. So on the Monday to Friday, you're going to do 2 coffees, let's say. So you can do a 9 o'clock coffee with someone, you spend an hour with them, and a 10 o'clock coffee with someone, spend an hour with them, and then you go on with your day. So fill up those days so you know ahead of time. So Sundays when you sit down, you reach out to your cousin that you haven't seen in so long, you reach out to the person who just moved into your neighborhood that you didn't really get to know them, reach out to the person you met at yoga, the old friend you ran into at the grocery store, like, oh my gosh, anybody that pops into your mind. The way I look at it, these things, when they pop into your mind, that's God's little wink, right? God's giving you an idea of like, you need to be reaching out to that person, right? If someone pops into my head, I know that's God's wink of letting me know I need to reach out to them. So that would be a break bread if you want to literally spend an hour one-on-one while you're eating something. Now, I never do like, oh, so the reason I invited you out to remind you that I'm a realtor. I never do that. Never, ever, ever, ever. It's not a horse sales pitch. I'm literally inviting you out to get to know you, to spend some time together, see how you're doing. What do you do for a living, right? Because Think of it this way. Are we all expecting everybody and their grandmother to use us as their realtor? Absolutely. And if they don't use us, we are like, you're dead to me, right? But then do we know what they do for a living? So if they have a painting business, are you supporting their painting business, or you just hired a painter that you don't know off of the internet? Well, you're not supporting your friend, but you get mad at your friend if she's not supporting you when they're selling their house. Right. So that's the point of these appointments, is to get to know the people, see what side business they are doing, see if you can support them. And guess what? In return, it will come up that you're in real estate. It will come up of how they can support you back. Because when you're supporting others, they owe you. They feel like they owe you. Right. So when you keep sending business to the local painter, you're like, oh my gosh, Gogo sent me 3 people this week. Guess what? Next time they're at a bonfire and somebody's talking real estate, out of duty, they're going to refer them to me. Right. So that's break bread. Then great phone calls or anything, really anybody that you feel like you need to talk to, as long as real estate came up, right? So at some point, the fact that you're in real estate, or maybe they needed to, find their old title work or whatever that the phone conversation went, if it ties back somehow to real estate, you can write it down as a great phone call. And you want to have at least 4 to 5 of those every single day. The next one is with leads. The leads that you already have, they're not your clients, right? They're just leads. Follow up with them. The next one is referral partners. This was a huge one for me to catch on. One day I realized, hold on a minute. I sent $9 million worth of business to a local lender, and I didn't have as much as a Starbucks gift card, right? Like nothing. And I don't want a Starbucks gift card. I want a lead. I'll work for it. I don't want you to give me anything of value. I want you to give me a lead that I am willing to work for that, so my family can eat this month. So with preferred vendors, the way I want you to look at it is, think about it. How much business do you send to a title company? How much business do you send to a lender? How much business do you send to an appraiser, a cleaning company, a moving company, a painting company, an electrician, a plumber, like all of these services that you use every time you list a property, a photography company? How much business are they sending you? Because I'm not asking you to do anything for me that I already haven't done for you.
Exactly.
But I'm asking for you to meet me halfway. Right? Meet me in the middle. What I give you is what I expect in return. So I want you to start thinking about, who are these referral partners that you're just automatically sending in business, and how can they support you back? Because in the end of the day, I have children and they need to eat. That's how I look at my partners. And if they cannot support you back, because if the lender says, oh, I don't have any leads, do you think they really don't have any buyer leads? Like, where do you think the pre-approved clients go that don't have a realtor? They go somewhere. I'm pretty sure they go somewhere, just not to me, honey. So who are you sending them to? Somebody's best friend. But did your best friend sent you $9 million business last year? Because I did.
That's one of the uncovered or underutilized opportunities that I see, and I know you see it over and over, and they have to be, because not, in certain situations you get to a certain amount of volume that you're doing, you can form a little bit different relationship. But early on, where you're sending 2 or 3 deals like a month on average, you dang sure should be getting something in return, because you have a sweat or check equity investment to acquire that opportunity, and you're just handing them over to somebody they made no investment to acquire that opportunity. So it's not a good relationship.
Yeah. And I'm not asking, give me a Starbucks gift card. I'm not asking for money. I will work for that. But I'm asking for, if I'm feeding your family, feed mine.
Exactly. Give us opportunities.
Yes. And that's the referral partners. The next one is past clients. So that's where, when we close with a client, we put them into our CRM program, which we use KV Core, and we put an anniversary date. So if we close today, we are going to put January 3rd, and every January 3rd, I get a reminder that Jessica Smith closed on January 3rd, 2022. I said, oh my gosh, Jessica, did you know it's your 2-year anniversary? How is the house treating you? Like, do you need anything? I do have a preferred vendors list. So we have a very long list that took us years to put together. Those are our local friends and local companies that we support and use. So usually on the anniversary, before I even call them, I send them an email, just say, hey, it's your 2-year anniversary. Congratulations. So excited. I hope the house is treating you well. If you do need anything, a plumber, electrician, painter, anything for the house, just click the preferred vendors list below and feel free to use anybody. On the preferred vendors list, we have, first we start with our friends and family, right, to support them back. Also the name of the company, email address, phone number, website. And we also ask for a coupon, like, can you give something for Gogo's real estate people, right? Like the people who use our services. So if they do need something, they already have it in their email. So on my phone call, I just say, hey, happy anniversary. I don't know if you realize it's your 2-year anniversary. How's the house treating you? Oh, everything good. Okay, good. But if you need anything if you check your email, there's a preferred vendors list. My team already sent you. Use anybody on there. We have used them for years. We trust them. Kind of like just a touch-up point, right? And if they say, oh my gosh, Gogo, we are having a baby. You're like, oh my gosh, congratulations. I would love to help you, right? Like these are the conversations that will naturally come up. Always call with trying to give, not trying to ask, but it will naturally come up in the conversation. The next one is social media. So this was not originally in here. I added this little section on here in the middle, social media posts. I try to post once or twice a day. Now, I post on Instagram and I have an amazing team, and they take everything that I post on Instagram and they plaster it everywhere on social media. So I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook groups, you name it, LinkedIn, I'm on there, right? Do I want you to be everywhere? Absolutely. Should you be the one posting everywhere? Nope. You should hire it out. You should, if you don't have a VA by now, that should be your newer resolution, and get one, because it is not worth your hourly rate, but you do have to be present everywhere. Yes. So this is your reminder to have 1 to 2 posts a day. Now I do about 15 to 25 story posts every single day. So when I talk about 1 to 2, this is to your feed. Your feed and your story are two different things. Your feed is your storefront. It's on there forever between now and the cows come home, right? That's your feed. That's your storefront. Your stories is where people get to know you. Your stories where you share a link. Your stories when you allow people to see into your life, but those stories disappear in 24 hours. Stories, I do anywhere from 15 to 25 a day. Your feed, your storefront, once or twice a day. This is your reminder here, social media post. I make my post on Instagram, and then my team takes it and plasters it everywhere else from there. The next one is open houses. So this reminds you right here to schedule your open houses for the weekend, also to follow up with the people that you have met at open houses. The next one is events. I want you to do at least 1 to 2 events in a 5-day period. An event is where you and multiple people are physically in the same space, not a Zoom call, because you don't get to make friends in a Zoom call, right? Like you and multiple people in the same place at the same time. So for example, you could go, let's say your local realtor association has an event, you go to that. Maybe your best friend has a bonfire, you go to that. That's an event. It's multiple people in the same place at the same time. And again, keyword, real estate comes up, right? If you were talking about, I don't know, a concert the whole night, then you don't get to count that. Real estate has to come up, right? Like this is you building business. The next one, hours prospected. So I want you to write down everything that you did here. Like if you go out to 2 coffees, that 2 hours is prospecting right there, right? You made 5 phone calls, 10 minutes each. That's another hour almost, right? So I want you to write down how many hours did it take you to prospect, and you should have about 21 hours in a week. The next one is the total thank you cards. Now, raise your hand if you love handwritten cards that was written just for you by someone's handwriting, and they put a label on it and put it in the mail, and then it comes to you and feels so good, right? None of us do it. None of us, we love receiving it, but none of us takes the time of the day. So that's one of the things I want to start doing this year is collecting people's addresses, celebrating their birthdays ahead of time, shipping them stuff, writing them handwritten notes, things that I didn't have time to do. I used to do this early on, the thank you cards, and then as busy I got, I stopped doing that. So thank you cards would be, let's say today you went out with your cousin Jessica, and Jessica brought you that cute little plant, and you were like, oh my gosh, Jessica, I absolutely loved having our coffee and catching up. I'm so excited, and I got to see you. Gosh, time flies, and thank you so much for the plant. Whatever that is, right? So those would be 2 thank you cards to thank somebody that you met with that day, that gave you something, helped you with something, whatever that is, right? And if you were to do all of this, you should write down how many leads you got out of it, potential leads, right? So let's say you're gonna write 3 leads because Jessica said her grandma is moving back into town and she needs a condo. And then so-and-so mentioned that, oh my gosh, they're having a baby. Remember on that phone call? Like those are the leads. Now, if you write this down, you should have 10 leads by the end of the week. You should have gotten at least 2 a day. If you did all of these things, you should have 2 potential leads by the end of the day. Now, the question is, what do you think your closing rate is? So if you were to get 10 leads, 2 a day for 5 days, this is actually 6 days, we take the weekend off, right? So if you were to work 5 days and get 2 leads, 10 by the end of the week, what do you think your closing rate is? Because now there is another problem. When I coach agents, we always have to dissect it to see what is your weakest link. You might be really good at lead generation, but you're really bad at turning a cold lead or a warm lead into a client. You might be good at turning them into a client, but you really suck at follow-up. And when they send you that they want to see 123 Main Street at 4 o'clock, you don't get back to them until tomorrow morning. You lost them, right? You might be really good. You might get them under contract, but you really suck at negotiations, right? You want to see every step of the process and what takes you to the closing table. So if I ask you now, if I gave you 10 warm leads, these are not strangers. They know you somehow or through somebody who recommended you, right? So they are not cold. Like they have a clue of who you are and what you do for a living. If I gave you 10 leads, how many of those do you think you could close? 2? If you close 2 out of 10, that's a 20% closing rate.
Yeah.
If you
I think warm, those activities, how you got that, you're doing a lot of relationship building, a lot of trust. Yeah. I mean, is that kind of a safe assumption that you feel if they go through and do that work and build those relationships, is that a good assumption for everybody to kind of gauge is 20%?
I would close 8 out of 10 every day.
There you go.
Because it's people I know. I mean, imagine if you came recommended by someone, that's totally different than when you took a Zillow lead.
Yeah.
And they don't even know who you are, if you're a man or a woman, or of your existence, or how long you've been in business, or have you ever closed anything. Right? It's totally different when you're building relationships. So I think it's easy to say, if you're doing this and doing it right full-heartedly, there's no reason why you couldn't close 8 out of 10. Now, the math down here, if you look at it, it's calculated with 3. It's calculated with a 30% closing rate. So that means if you were to do all this and you only had a 30% closing rate, you should be able to have 3 closings every single week. Okay. So if you're doing 3 closings a week, 4 times 3 is 12 closings a month. What would that do to your business? Could you even handle 12 closings by yourself? You couldn't. I couldn't. There's no way. There's no way. I would have a TC and 3 assistants and an admin, and I couldn't even tell you. Right. So this is the greatness tracker. It's here to remind you what you need to be doing on the everyday basis, so you can create new habits. Because we all slack. If you're anything like me, I'm a high DNI. I only do things if I freaking feel like it. If I don't feel like it, I'm not doing it. And the tracker will stare you right in the face of why you don't have what you want. Is because you're going to look at it in the end of the week and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I really didn't go to any events. I only had 1 coffee and I made 17 phone calls, but I was supposed to be making 37 phone calls, right? It's going to stare you right in the face. And then you're going to see your weaknesses. And if you're a high DNI, then you have to force yourself to do things that you don't feel like doing. That's now, over time, when you get really good at this, over time, you get to pick and choose. For a while, I want you to do it all because this is your greatness tracker. If you do everything for 90 days, you're going to figure out what are you really good at, what comes to do any of this anymore. If I just do social media is what I'm really good at, where my greatness lies, I can get all of this done with social media. I don't have to do the face-to-faces and do all to figure out what comes natural to me, because I want all of you to live your life by this quote. You never have to work a day in your life if you love what you do. In order to figure out what you're naturally good at, the other problem why we don't see what we're naturally good at, because it comes natural to us.
Yeah.
It's just what I do. I don't know why, that's just what I do. I don't even notice it. So when you start tracking it, you're noticing where your weakness lies, where your greatness lies, and what makes you the most amount of money. Now, if you can make more money than you can spend with 1 skill out of here, just continue working on that 1 skill and hire everything else out. That's what I do. Everything else is hired out. But at first, I want you to do it all until you figure out where your greatness lies. And eventually, you just get to work in your greatness.
That's it. That's all we're all pushing for, right? Is to be able to spend our time in that greatness.
Yeah. And so another way to say it, I don't have to do this. I get to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, Gogo, to your point, you said it earlier. I think you have to be real careful with the language, and it's like we get to, and I hear it a lot, and I know you do as well. I want, and want versus I will is two different things, and so you can want all of this, but what will you do? What will you commit to, and commit to it over extended period of time? And that's where obviously the greatness will come from.
Yeah, I read it in I wish I could quote it word for word, but it was something along the lines of like, in order to have what you want, right, you have to become the person who can do what it takes to have that.
Correct.
So the question is, if you want this certain thing, are you willing to become the person that is on that level to have it? Are you willing to change? Because
And
if nothing changes, nothing
nothing
changes.
changes. And so, really breaking these down to the activities, and not even thinking you don't like it, but just doing it.
Hmm.
And the results will start to flush out. But having these activities, and the math will tell the whole story. And I think just from an exposure, creating the audience, the social media aspect of things, a great mental model, like what you were saying with, hey, you're going to look at this, and there's going to be things that are empty, or you're barely scratching the surface with any of these things, is the whole, your life is on camera. And so just imagine if you had a camera crew that filmed you 24/7 for 365. Like they were going to film you for this entire year. How are you showing up? Right? How are you showing up for your family? How are
Um,
you showing up for those that matter the most? Are you living with what it is that you say, and how transparent, and how they like you said with the form, you only have a couple things filled out for the week, but just imagine that camera crew was on you the entire time, and your family saw that, your kids saw that, your significant other saw that. Is that how you want to show up?
yeah.
And so it's just those little mental concepts and frameworks that allow us to, okay, if I had the camera crew on me, would I be doing this? Would I be slacking off? No way I wouldn't be slacking off. And so I think it's creating that visibility, that accountability is really, really key.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm probably gonna steal that one from you and make a post about that at some point. You will see. I'll tag you.
So Gogo, so having this, and really, the day-to-day, the boring, the activities, and,
No,
and
that's
what,
what we gotta go right into next, the boring day-to-day stuff.
yes,
You right? You guys ready for the boring stuff?
the
Okay.
boring stuff.
The boring stuff, the systems and processes that's going to go along with this to help you get to that next level and automate things. So I want you guys to write these 3 words down: automate it, delegate it, or eliminate it. So number one, we're going to automate it because why? Systems work all the time, most of the time. They can crash, of course, but most of the time you can count on them. They don't get sick, and they don't need vacation time. They work at midnight Eastern time. They work at 3 p.m. They work at whenever. They always work, right? Why? So number one, I always want you to look at, can I automate this? Or do I have to hire someone to delegate them to that someone? Because if you think, yeah, these next 3 things I'm going to show you, don't quote me on how much they cost, but I want to say it's 20 some bucks a month. Nobody's going to work full time for you for 20 some bucks a month. Nobody. So the cheapest option is to automate it. Find a system that can do it over and over again for 20 some bucks a month, and then remove it from your plate. The next thing is delegation. So if you can't automate it because it requires that human element, then you need to delegate it. Okay. Should you delegate it to someone who's going to charge you 25 bucks an hour, or should you generate I can't talk. Delegate it to someone who's going to charge you 5 bucks an hour? 25.5. Which one do you think you should do? 5 bucks an hour. So hire a VA. Okay. So that's your delegation. Now, if it has to be done in person, like physically near you someone. I do have a house assistant or a life assistant, I like to call her. Her name is Mandy. She's always here. She's here right now. She's physically next to me. She helps me with anything that's physical. Of course, she costs way more than $5 an hour. She's somewhere in the 20s, right? So you have to look at these things. And I actually learned this one from you, John, the red light, green light exercise. I freaking use that thing like it's going out of style. So I'm going to walk you guys through super duper quick what I learned from John, red light, green light. You're going to take a piece of paper and you're going to draw a line in the middle, like straight down in the middle. You put red light on one side, green light on the other. Why? Because you need to figure out what are those everyday nitty gritty. Oh my gosh, do I have to do it again? 400 messages on LinkedIn. What are those steps that you are taking every single day? Because they have to get done. Do they have to get done by you, or could somebody else do it? That's the red light, green light. So you're going to walk around with that piece of paper for the next week, right? And every step that you take for your business, every phone call you make, every post you make, every email you answer, everything, right? You're going to write it down. Red light means you're going to ask yourself, can I stop doing this and hire it out, or do I need to continue doing this? Red light, stop doing it right now. Now catch yourself. Here's a little add-on, John, that I want to add on to your training on this one. Ask yourself, is this my heart that's answering the question, or is it my ego? Because what you're going to catch yourself is your ego going to say, oh my gosh, I cannot hire this out. Like, nobody's going to do it as me as I will. You know, like there's no freaking way anybody can do it as good as I can. That's your ego.
Yes.
250% person is 100% you. $5 an hour, let 2 of them do it. You'll be totally fine. Okay. So with the red light, green light, you realize what you should be doing or what you shouldn't be doing. That's not what your hourly rate anymore. And then we are going to put it into the delegated section, hire it out. And the rest one is, if you can automate it and you can delegate it, let's say you could love it. Like you might be doing it over and over again. You freaking love it, but it's not making you money, or it's not making you real money. You need to eliminate it. It's going bye-bye. And here's how I learned it. And I started a business it sounded like a good idea, and good is the enemy of great, by the way. If you spend your time on good ideas, you don't have time for great ideas. So here's a perfect example for that. I started a company and it required about 8 hours of my time every single month, and I made $4,000. I was like, okay, I'm sorry, but that's not worth my time. Right? My hourly rate is $2,300 an hour. If I work 8 hours on it, at a minimum, I should be making $18,000, not $4,000. So every additional 8 hours I spend on this specific something, right? This business that I had, every additional 8 hours I spend on it, I'm literally losing $14,000 every month, because if I took those 8 hours and I spent it in this business, I would be making $2,300 an hour. Perfect example for eliminate it. It does not worth your time. Does it make you a little money? Yes, it does. Maybe it doesn't make you any money. I don't know. But if it's not your time best spent, it's got to go. Yeah. Or hire it out or systematize it. If you can't do either one of those three, it is going bye-bye.
I think too, the way to also look at this, Gogo, and understand that, I know you said we're in the people business, really what that relationship driven business, but we're also in the business of getting results.
Oh yeah.
And that's all people buy, right? People buy results. So when you look at the activities and the things you're doing, it's that whole MVP, right? The minimum viable product, time spent, service to get the result that they want. And all of the other things that you do, and you look at it and you're like, okay, does this get the result? No. Does it improve the experience? Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't really have to do that. You can stop it. You can probably get somebody else to do that at a fraction of what your hourly is to improve the experience. And you may be just the one that is like the linchpin to get the result. But and typically that comes down to, especially in any type of service, is more consultative, more of listening and then prescribing and then letting the rest of the team do it, deliver on it. That's where your genius, for a lot of people listening in, that's where their genius is at, is listening and prescribing and then getting the heck out of the way and let everybody else deliver on it.
Amen. So let's go into the few little systems that I use that it changed my life. Number one, to, since we are going into the automation portion of it, is called Sten Store. So let me switch back. I just like to say you, like, I don't like talking to myself. Okay. So Sten Store, if you have a link tree, so for example, on Instagram, we used to be able to have only one link. Right now, Instagram allows us to have two links. So on my Instagram, I have my Sten Store, and then I have my gogobethke.com. So everyone should own their name.com, and under your name, it should be everything that you do. So there I have Agent Attraction, I have podcasts, I have Gogopreneur, my TV show, I have my real estate team, buy or sell a home, I have Partner with Me at AX, you name it. What everything that I do is on my gogobethke.com. What Sten Store is, though, if you have a link like Linktree, right, that allows you to have all of your affiliates, everything that you do, it's all in one place, one click of a button. Linktree is great, but Linktree doesn't, or didn't, used to allow you to charge. You could link your links, but there was no way to a checkout page to sell a product, sell a booklet, sell a training, a coaching program, a boot camp, or whatever that you do, right? So Sten Store will allow you to do things, to do the, what I say, to actually sell things, right? So if you go to my Sten Store, and I don't know if I can click it here. Let me see if it's clickable so I can show you my Sten Store. There we go. Do you guys see my screen?
Do it just has the QR code.
Just the QR code. So let me stop sharing. Stop sharing and share again. And share screen, and this one probably share. Okay. How about now? Can you see it now?
Boom.
Yes?
We got it.
Awesome. Okay. So this is my Sten Store. It's fully customizable. You can make it look like whatever you want to look like, whatever you want to make it look like, and you can sell products. So number one, I'm in the data collective business. So my number one is collecting email addresses, because I send an email a day. So I help entrepreneurs, realtors, investors, people in finance, like advisors, coaches, those kind of people. Of everything that I learn, I like to share it. So if you would like to know what books I'm reading or what's on my mind or any lessons that I learned, get on my email list. That's number one right here. I'm doing a business mastery 3 months training. For that, I created 2 different products, a full price product and then a partial product. The way I want you to look at this, I want you to start thinking, what do I know? Who can I help? And write this quote down, because it will change your life. It changed mine. You can have absolutely anything in life. The more people you help to get what they want.
Yeah.
That's Zig Ziglar. We always look at the people we are chasing, the people like, oh, I'm not there yet. But we don't look back to see how far we come, to see the people who are 10 steps behind us. Those are the people that we can all help. So if I asked you, what are you really good at? Could you tell me? Probably yes, but it will give you a little bit of a, because none of us like to talk about ourselves, right? So what I want you to do, and also number 2, besides that we don't like to talk about ourselves, number 2 is that when it comes natural to us, we don't realize what we are good at, because it comes natural to us. So what I want you to do, the next 10 text messages, send it to people that they really, really, really know you. And ask them this simple question out of the blue, no heads up, just say, what am I good at? And you'll be so surprised the messages that you get. Like some of my friends just, goofed off and gave me goofy answers, but some of them went into like detailed pages of like, you're really good at this, and you have people skills, and you talk to anyone, and and your social media, and what I mean? Because I want you to see, I want these people that truly know you to tell you what you're good at, because naturally we don't see our own skills, because it just comes easy to us, right? Now, when they tell you what you're really good at, sit down with a notebook and start writing, what kind of classes could you create? Could you create a Zoom call on this, on a specific subject? Do you maybe already have the most amazing listing presentation? Maybe you have a buyer's guide that, holy shoot, it just would blow anybody's mind. Maybe you are really good at social media marketing. Maybe you are really good at whatever that you are good at. Could you create a quick little course? Like this one is a 4-week training. Every Wednesday for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to help entrepreneurs and realtors to help them set up their businesses. Because what I learned when I started making money is that I don't know what to do with money. I don't know how to set up LLCs. I don't know if I need an S Corp or a C Corp. I don't know how to invest. I don't know the tax game. I don't know any of that. So I'm going to help people do that in the next 4 weeks. That's what's close to my heart right now. That's what I want to help the next generation of realtors with. What do you want to help them with? And that is your course. That is your ebooklet. That is your product. That is that Sten Store that you can put up here. And now think of it this way. Is this going to work for me between now and until the event starts on the 17th? Yes. Can you look at it today and sign up? Yes. Can you could have you looked at it 2 weeks ago? Yes. Can you do it in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Yes. Online products always work for you. You're going to spend an hour or two creating the product. You're going to spend, yes, additional time marketing the product, but then this product is going to work for you forever until you take it down, until the opportunity doesn't exist anymore. And it's one to many, meaning that when I make the post, hundreds of thousands of people are going to see it. Versus if I were to dial them today, hundreds of thousands, to tell them about this opportunity, right? How long would that take me? So it's technology that allows you to have relationship from one to many, have those people that are 10 steps behind, and have the ability to charge. Because in the end of the day, we all work for money. Do I want to help the world? Yes. But I have a family and children to feed. I need to make money. Nobody takes my beautiful 2 eyes when I go to the grocery store to pay for stuff. I have to use real money. So this is what I want you to look at. We all need to have multiple revenues of income, not just chasing that next commission. So what you're really good at, get a Stencil account, which the link is right here in the presentation, the Get Your Stencil link. And I think in the lives, Larissa is going to put it in there. You can get 2 weeks free. Check it out. Figure out what your product is going to be and create it and let that work for you. So if you created, let's say, a listing presentation, right? Like step-by-step instruction to help the new agent to how to even, like when you show up at a listing, like what do you do? What do you take? What do you say? How do you have the objections? You can do video based, you can do type it out, you can do an ebook like name it, however you want to do it. Let's say you charge $99 for it. You wake up tomorrow morning and 3 people bought it, that's $300. If three people buy it every single day this week, 7 times 3, what is that? 21. That's $2,100. Am I doing the math right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's 4 weeks. 4 weeks this month. That's $8,400.
Yeah, putting that together around, I mean, to just create additional opportunities and no, it's definitely being able to have that and really capitalizing on your genius and what you're really good at. But it starts with getting some clarity around that for sure to be able to have that. So Gogo, looking at just kind of where we're at with the time in the calendar here, being able to just make sure we cover all of our bases here. So understanding kind of moving into the new year, into the future, being really, I think it's being intentional and making sure that you have some type of like what you shared, your greatness tracker, being able to hold yourself accountable to that, finding the things that we can automate, leverage with the tools and the AI and with solid systems. What you're not good at, the red light, delegate or eliminate, being able to have. So kind of taking a personal inventory of what we have and where things are at. Once we're obviously, hopefully we're already clear of what we're trying to accomplish for the year, but this is just making sure that we've got a great framework and foundation to daily operate within is so important.
So the next one is ChatGPT going to help you exactly with that, right? Because so many times you're like, okay, what am I supposed to post about today? What am I supposed to say? I'm not inspired, all of those things. So I literally chitty chat with ChatGPT. So if you download ChatGPT on your phone as an app, there's a microphone button now, which kind of looks like a headset, which throws me off. I don't know why the microphone, whatever, it looks like a headset. You push that, you can literally, with your voice, tell ChatGPT what you want, and then she talks back to you. Right? Like you can talk about, hey, ChatGPT, I want to lose 5 pounds and I'm 5'2", 136 pounds now. What workout recommendations you have? I only have every Tuesday morning between 8 and 9. Tell me what to do. Right? And it's literally going to give you, right? You might say, hey, ChatGPT, Gogo told me I need to do 2 posts a day on my social media. I need one for the AM. I need one for the PM. I need it to be sassy, but real estate related. I represent the Greater Toronto area, metropolitan area. Our average price range is this. I'm really good at this, this, and this. Give me a social media schedule for the next 30 days. And it is going to go whoop and give it to you like, oh, okay, cool. So if you don't have ChatGPT, literally just use it as your assistant. Like if you don't know what to do, just ask it. Hey, ChatGPT, I don't even know what to ask you today, but I guess I should be making a social media post. What should I post about? It will literally tell you. So if you don't have ChatGPT, get it. Let me go back to the last one. I absolutely love my ChatGPT and I can't live without that. So lastly, we are going to talk about, let me stop sharing because this doesn't allow us to go back and forth, and then start sharing. And then lastly, we are going to talk about ManyChat. So is everybody on here familiar with ManyChat?
I would say no.
No. Okay. So ManyChat allows you to, if you go to my social media, which is Gogo's Real Estate on Instagram and Gogo Bethke or Gogo's Real Estate everywhere else, when you go on there, you see when I make my posts, I usually say, comment the word retreat, or comment the word webinar, or comment the word buyer, or comment the word seller, or comment the word, whatever. And then my system automatically will send you the link. So what happens is that on Instagram, for example, right, as I'm making a post, I cannot take you off of Instagram and take you somewhere. I cannot give you a direct link, right? So let's say we're talking about your buyers and you're making a buyer post today. And let's say that you have 123 Main Street and you just listed it and it's the most amazing, cutest little A-frame on the lake and you need the world to know. And anybody that needs to know about this property should comment the word buyer. Well, the problem is that if you were trying to include the direct link to that property from your KV core, you can't, because you cannot put a direct link on Instagram. So what you can do, you say, hey, if you want to see this property or you want to know more about this property, just comment the word buyer. ManyChat allows you to create a keyword for a link and an automated message that's going to go with that link. So let me go over here and then we can go through that. Here's the link to ManyChat. You can scan it, or Larissa is going to put it into the chat box as well. Now, I don't know how much you pay for it. Granted, I pay for the highest level of ManyChat. I have so many words, but I want to say the basic level is probably like $20 some. Don't quote me on it. It is not $1 million, I can tell you that, and it is a huge lifesaver. You can scan it right here. It will take you there. You can download it, or just click the link that's in either one of the groups. So what are keywords? Think of it, and you can see my screen, right, as I'm clicking
Yes.
on. Okay.
Yep.
So keywords are like, who am I talking to and what do I want them to comment back to get the link automatically? So if you're talking to buyers, let's say you just did 123 Main Street and you just listed it, right? And you want all the buyers who want to buy that property or see the property to know about it. You say, if you're interested, just comment the word buyer. What happens is as soon as they comment the word buyer, the system, which is ManyChat, automatically going to send them the message that you typed up with the direct link into their DM. So all they need to do is click it. Same with sellers. Let's say you're talking about what's going on with interest rates. And if you're thinking about selling, comment the word seller. When they comment the word seller, they get that automated message that you set up that's attached to that keyword with the direct link to your Zoom call or your calendar or whatever you want to take them. My next two that I want to talk about that for me are super important in my case is that additional source of income, which in my case is my webinars, right? So I have Go Get 'em webinars. When I make a post and I say comment the word webinar, it's going to take them to my Go Get 'em webinars where they can become a member, and it's a knowledge-based library where I teach about everything that I know anything about, okay? Partners is that the fourth most important thing for me, because it's agent attraction, right? So I came to AXP because I absolutely knew that I can change agents' lives. So when I'm talking to agents about, hey, would you like to know more about EXP? Or I'm looking forward to talking with you. Or, oh my gosh, you don't have a retirement plan. Let me show you how I do at EXP. We earn stocks. Or we talk about, revenue share. Oh my gosh, you're so well known and all these agents are following you. Why don't, do you get paid in revenue share? Do you make money off of your connections, right? That's a conversation opener. Oh, you don't? I say just comment the word partner. And as soon as they do, that automated message goes to them and a direct link so they can watch all of my EXP videos and then jump into my calendar. So let's go through these in action to how to set these keywords up super quick. Now, again, I have a full-blown 3-hour training on this one in Go Get 'em webinars. I'm just going to give you the surface. I can't actually show you how to set it up, but I'm going to walk you through the major steps of that so you get like an overall picture of that. So I made a post that I shared a story, an old story that happened with my buyer. have someone find their home of their dreams, right? Like, oh my gosh, it's so boring. Nobody's going to click on that. But if they tell the actual story of what happened, which is what I did in the video, and I said, if you are on the market and you just can't seem to find the home of your dreams, my team and I would love to help you. Just comment the word buyer. Right? When they do, they get this message. I know the feeling of being on the market for the next home or investment property, and I'm super excited to help you find it. Click the link below to search for homes. And that's my KV core, search for homes, right? And then this is where it gets taking them. So you see they get this message, and that's their search for homes. You collect the information. The next one is partner with me. So this is my, hold on. Sellers right here. No better time to sell than now. Find out how much your home is worth by clicking the link below. I hope you like the numbers. Looking forward to working with you. That is the home evaluation. So on the right-hand side, it takes them to home evaluation. Partner with me. This is how I do the EXP partner with me. This is how I do my agent attraction. I will talk about EXP. I will talk about how EXP changed my life. I will talk about anything that I absolutely love and adore about EXP. And then I'll say, comment the word partner if you're interested. Now, I want you to keep in mind they can comment or DM the word partner. So when you're setting this up, you want to send this one up, especially for DMs, because most people are not going to want the world to see that they're commented partner. They don't want the world to see they're thinking about switching brokerages. So I set it up, this one for DM or comments, whatever they feel comfortable with. So in this case, they comment the word partner, they get this message. I am so excited you're interested in changing brokerages and maybe joining me at EXP. Jump into my calendar and let's talk. Let's see if we would be a good fit to partner at Gogo. That partner with me page on the right-hand side that you see, this is my Gogo Bethke Partner With Me page where I have 9 videos that they need to watch. After they watch the 9 videos, that button right there, Let's Talk EXP, gets clicked and they jump into my calendar. I actually got a text message while I was on here that someone just got into my calendar, Let's Talk EXP. So I absolutely love it. As you see, like I am here with you guys talking about something totally different. Like, yes, I guess right now I'm talking about Partner Me, but I'm not talking about EXP. I'm not pitching you EXP. And while you're sitting here, I got a text message that someone is scheduled to talk to me about EXP. So you set these systems up once, it works for you forever. Someone can click it today, 10 years from now, tomorrow night, in the morning, you name it, it's always working for you. So the last one is the webinars. In my case, I sell webinars and I sell coaching programs or group coaching things. So in this case is webinar. I want you to see it so you can think on all of the different ways how you can make money when you create that product. In this case, my webinars, it says, excited you are ready to scale with us. Go get on webinars. Here's your link. Sign up here. And then it takes them to the Go Get on Webinars websites. How to set up your integrations. Create a keyword for a product. So now I want you to keep in mind, I have to remember all of these keywords. So every time I make a post, most of them, I would say 75% of them I remember. 25% are like the keywords that I don't use every day. I don't remember it, then I just text my team. I'm like, hey guys, do we have a stand store keyword? And they're like, yeah, it's stand. I'm like, okay. So then I make my post and I do stand. So you do have to remember your keyword. So keep in mind, when you create that keyword, you have to remember it because that keyword is attached to the message that attached to the link. And it works all the time until you change it. So create your keyword for a product, create a message. Message includes link. Link comes from your CRM program to collect their data, and that's it. Or stand store to sell a product, okay? So it's really that simple. So then the next thing is, how do you create the content? And this is where that
welcome all experiences.
I'll show you this one super quick. This is where it comes into handy, that quote of facts tell, stories sell, right? Because if you just do fact, they're going to overlook it. If you share a story and they find a common element in the story that they can relate to, that's what's going to make them pull the trigger. So the next question is, after you create all of these products and you create all of these keywords and using technology and you're eliminating and you're delegating and you're automating, what's going to make someone to pull the trigger? And that's where the videos and the heartfelt, like the true you kind of things are going to come out. So let me play this one super quick. This one I use for agent attraction.
You never know which one is going to turn everything on.
So let me see if I can start it again.
Welcome all experiences. You never know which one is going to turn everything on.
So in this case, I just used it for agent attraction. I type up a long thing about EXP, why I love it here. And if you look in the bottom, it says, DM me partner, let's talk, I can help. right? So that was my agent attraction, and I do it over and over again. Now, you don't want to overdo agent attraction, right? Because you don't want them to like realize that your profile, that's all you're doing is attracting them to EXP, right? You have to like sprinkle that into places. So don't overdo it, but do it all the time. And stories sell by, we talked about that, sellers, you can learn more. Oh, this is Go Get 'em. If you would like to have $5 off on my Go Get 'em membership, there's your QR code. And that is it from me today.
Boom. So good. You know, I think you look at, especially kind of kicking the year off, looking for something super sexy, and I'm going to read this to you. And it was from Shane Parrish's Farnham Street blog on New Year's Eve. And he said, when things go wrong, it's almost always because of distraction. And chasing what's sexy comes at the expense of doing what's boring. Consistently doing the boring stuff builds success. And I think that's where those that are going to separate themselves and thrive into the new year, into the future, especially into a very interesting time, just the whole climate and the election year and you know, lack of inventory and the market and just everything that's going on. There's a lot of distractions. And I think, you know, consistently doing the boring stuff builds success. Doesn't matter what what the current or the climate. It's just one of those things, and everything that you shared today travels, right? It travels.
I have 2 quotes on that. Number 1, if you want to have what the top 1% has, you have to do what 99% is not willing.
Yeah.
Right? Why do they have it? Because they did what most people wouldn't do, is the boring everyday stuff over and over again. And then the last one is something right along these lines. Hold on, let me try to remember. I can't remember it. It's going to be a mystery for next. I remember my stories. I'll share it with you guys later.
It'll come back around to you. It'll come back around to you. Well, Gogo, you're amazing. And as always, you know, sharing a ton of you know, valuable insight. I mean, just pulling back the curtain, exactly what you're doing and really what the expert mentor conversations are really all about. And just grateful to be able to kick the new year off again with you. And I know we'll definitely look forward to next year, but also getting you in throughout the year, giving us updates and kind of where to stay committed and stay focused on. But and can't thank you enough.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. If you have a heart, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. These things are going to take a hot minute to set up, right? But after they are set up, they work for you all the time. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to have think of it this way. What I have today, it took me 12 years to build it. It's not going to take 12 years to build it because nobody was showing it to me. I'm literally showing it to you step by step. So it's going to take you 5 minutes. You just have to sit down, set your mind to it. Say, okay, today I'm setting up SendStore. Tomorrow I'm setting up ManyChat. The day after that, I'm setting up ChatGPT. And then after they're all set up, you just kind of have to maintain it here and there, but they're going to work for you because they're technology. If you do need help to set these things up, I have trainings on every single one of these, hours and hours and hours long in Go Get 'em webinars. So you just watch, pause, copy, paste.
Boom. Love it. Gogo, appreciate you. Thank you so much. And you guys make sure connect with Gogo if you're not already, which I know most of you are, but make sure you're connect, stay plugged in, give her lots of love, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. Go get 'em, guys. Bye.